Alright. What's up, everybody? Today we are going to be reporting on some breaking news, and it really is at the core of how much of StarCraft is skill and how much is luck. That's the core issue that we're really addressing today, because a lot of players, they like to kind of lay out the platitudes and say, oh, I hope I have good luck today. Oh, I got a bit unlucky, I lost that series. Hey, sometimes you get a bit lucky, sometimes you don't. But realistically, most of them do believe that victory is almost always within or, within their grasp if they play correctly. And if they simply play better, they will win almost always. However, there are some things outside of your control, and it does feel like sometimes there's players that get a little bit unluckier than others. And I think you guys know who I'm talking about. That's right, Solar. The unluckiest player in the world. He's been dubbed this in the last year and a half, 2 years. Actually, it's almost the end of 2022. The last 2 years, he's been dubbed the most unlucky player, and this is the reason why. It all started here, back in the World Championship 2021, the online IEM Katowice, and he basically had Maru pinned at the end of a 39-minute Zerg vs Terran. He was finally about to win.
Corruptors with those Broodlords, he couldn't actually fight the Broodlords. He was busy trying to deal with the Corruptors the whole time, because those can kill the Vikings too. So now there's the defensive nuke, the panic nuke, but I mean it takes a pretty huge mistake from a Zerg player to fall for this and get hit by that.
Oh my
goodness, he's trying to get that shot. It does land. He gets all the Broodlords. What?
No!
Oh my God!
Oh my God!
Mm.
No!
Ah.
I cannot
What?
believe. Oh my God, he was launching nukes in the corner at the same time. So Solar, you can see him there, the reaction in his chat. Yeah, that's kind of painful to watch, not only because of the absolute torture that it must have been for Solar to experience, but I also have to listen to my own commentary, and I gotta say, sometimes people make fun of me for unjustified reasons in the community. And for the last 2 years now, I've had people say that I may have creamed myself while casting this exact match. And I gotta say, listening to the commentary back, yeah, I mean, I sound a little... It was like 4 in the morning. Okay, I'd woken up like an hour beforehand to do my casting with Nathanius. Neither of us ever thought that nuke was going to land. But I gotta say, what the hell, mate? Solar was a little distracted down the bottom, and I think he thought the ghost died as well. So, is this bad luck? Is this inattention? The thing is, it's one of those moments where it's like, people will say like, well, this only happens if the Zerg is red, because then you can't see the red dot as easily. Other people would say, well, he thought he killed the ghost. He thought the ghost died, right? You see, he comes forward there, and he goes back. But, look at that. That ghost is right there. And the Overseer pulled back. So what happened there, I want to show you that last few seconds. Here, he specifically brings forward his Vipers and his Overseers. And now he clicks on that ghost. And watch. A whole bunch of projectiles head towards it. Oh, actually, sorry. This is the second wave. This actually happened again even earlier. So there's the nuke. Let's watch this one more time. He comes forward. And he starts hitting that ghost right about here. But then the Overseer pulls away. So notice a bunch of the Broodlings were going to kill it, and I think he thinks the ghost is dead. We were on Solar's vision there. And then he brings the Overseer back in and loses literally everything. And that is the face of a man who's just been rocked. Now, in of itself, this does not mean he's the most unlucky man in the world. But this was only the first of several missteps last year in 2021 for Solar. So the next one we're looking at here is in GSL. A few months later, he's playing against Parting on one of the special GSL maps, GSL Oblivion. They usually like to have 1 or 2 of their own maps in the pool. Let's see what happens.
See the Void, so for the past 4 years. And look at that. A pylon at the bottom of the ramp.
Huh. What is his plan? By the way, the Zerg is searching. The Zerg senses something's going on. The cannon's going to come down.
Oh my God, that
blocks?
I
didn't know this at all.
Okay, so Parting figured something out that I guess other people didn't know. That's crazy.
Look
What?
at Solar.
What?
It doesn't even look like it. It should work at all.
That is utterly disgusting. This is one of those things where I remember at the time this happened, people were like, oh, well, Solar should have studied the maps and he should have known. You gotta remember, he's a Zerg player. So when every other map is expected to not be walled off, then Why would he possibly check for that? What, is he going to go through every map and check if it's walled off by one pylon? I mean, hats off to Parting for figuring this out. But guys, case in point, these unbuildable plates here were specifically put in on every map. A lot of newer players ask, why is that there? It's so that they can't wall off with 3 pylons, because that's considered unfair. It's way too cost efficient. If you can wall off the bottom of their ramp so they can't even move out with 3 pylons, it's super BS, because there's very little surface area, so the drones and zerglings can't break out from the inside, whereas a 3 pylon wall on top of the ramp you can break through because there's a lot more surface area. So this clearly is just a mistake on the map maker's part, or when they ported it over to GSL, they made a huge mistake. For him to be the guinea pig, the one player that died to this in a tournament, and the result stood. They didn't replay the match and ban it or anything like that. GSL said, well, there's no explicit rule against it. We'll remove it for the next day of GSL. But Soli, you get eliminated this season. Have fun with that. Seriously, I mean, that's got to sting. He was very upset about this. He was quite emotional. And yeah, he was like, he just felt like he'd been absolutely cheated. You can argue the nuke one was inattention. In this case, I think you are really stretching if you say this is anything other than absolutely terrible luck, that he had to be the victim for this one absolutely disgusting map exploit. Now, of course, it wasn't over yet. Later that year, a few months later, he was playing Beyond in one of the grand finals of the weekly North American Cup. Gonna do a zoning nuke here to cover his retreat. Oh, he does lose 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 3 ghosts are gonna go down. Oh, no way! He didn't get the ghost calling and the nuke. No fucking way! Dude, instant rewind. We gotta watch that one more time. Dude. Wait. I didn't even think this. I knew the nuke happened in this game, guys. As I said, I'm casting this on the replay. I didn't think this was the nuke. It's so obvious. It's right in his face. There's a red dot right there, but he doesn't realize. No. That's 16 Broodlords and 2 Infestors. Oh my god. Okay, guys, I'm starting to sense a pattern. I may sound a little bit like I'm getting me jimmies off whenever a giant nuke lands. What can I say? There's a fine line between pleasure and pain. And that was painful to watch. So again, another nuke landed on Sol. I mean, this is just, he is honestly, it is ridiculous. Nobody else has this level of just having these 1 in a million moments happen to him. It's absolutely insane that this just keeps happening. And of course, that brings us to this one. That's right, guys. You've probably already seen some people cast it out there, like Winter and Loco. If you haven't, though, we've just seen yet another match where some very bad luck happened. That's right. It's continued. It's continuing. Those 3 last moments were all in 2021. Solar hadn't had any single big, super cinematic, giant, just spate of bad luck this year. Though he's had a lot of moments where he like almost beat Maru and barely lost at the end, where he's almost beat Cure and Cure's won with the game with 2 units surviving. There's been a lot of those moments, but here he is facing off Onside Gaming Solar up against Kaiser Gaming's Time, going now by Oliveira. I asked him why, and indeed he did name himself after the Brazilian former lightweight champion of the UFC. So good to see he's a bit of an MMA fan himself. But Time has been on an absolute tear lately. And Solar, like I said, he's had a lot of moments where it's like, oh, he's beating Maru, and he just can't quite break him, and Maru claws it back. He's had a lot of those games where he can't quite finish his opponents off. But other than that, he's been performing very well, very consistently. And to hear that once again, the bad luck, the ghost that haunts him, the monkey on his shoulder has returned. Well, it put a big smile on my face because I like drama, and it also made me feel deep pain within my soul because I just feel bad for him at this point that so much stuff keeps on happening. Now, this was, I think, the grand finals of EPT Korea, just from this last weekend. Number 152, I think, is the week of the ESL Pro Tour Weekly that was. He's going to be going for 4 Zerglings, 2 Queens here, and he's got a drone heading out towards the 3rd base as well. Now, obviously, we started off showing you guys a bunch of clips, and we're kind of just transitioning into a straight-up cast. It's a little bit of a different way of doing a video for me. You guys let me know in the comments if you'd rather if I just jump straight, find the epic moment, show you guys that, just show it as a little clip compilation, or if you prefer the whole context. I just think a lot of StarCraft nerds like to see the whole match and how it unravels. And honestly, just because there's one big, really unlucky moment doesn't necessarily mean it'll be game over there. We see players macroing so hard on this map, Data C, where often it's multiple big engagements, massive fights, and you can come back from just about anything if you've set yourself up well enough. Now, 3 command center build for Oliveira, aka Time up here, and that's going to be us. I think I'm going to just call him Oliveira. I don't know if he's officially changing his name or not, but it's better than Time, because Time is a word which we simply use a lot in commentary. You're often talking about, will someone get something in time? Is the upgrade going to be ready in time? Will he hit his attack timing early enough? So Oliveira, a much nicer name to roll off the tongue. Solar, he's got queens, he's got lings, he's got a good little spread of overlords as well. And I like that he's hidden this overlord on the top. He sent that right along the edge, so that can poke in from the back of Time's base and see if he's going for battle cruisers or anything nasty like that. Now the Reaper's going to back off here, pull away from those queens and rotate around. He's going to see maybe if he can jump into the main. 3 Zerglings are standing duty though. The creep being allowed to spread rather smoothly, and 3 more queens are on the way. There is a lot of lava available though, so for Solar to start this queen immediately on the 3rd, I mean, it's nice because it keeps him safe in terms of queen count, but he is delaying a few of these drones by a few seconds. So he's got to be careful that he doesn't play too safe on the queen count. Of course, he doesn't know that it's a 3 command center opening. We do. So we know that these Hellions aren't out particularly early, that there's no run-bys or early Banshees that he's got to worry about. And in fact, Fusion Core's on the way, so Time is going to go for Battle Cruiser behind this. 3 command center into Battle Cruiser. I feel like almost always goes into mech. And yet, I don't think Time was really a mech player. I thought he was more of a bio guy. Oh, the Overlord coming in. It's not going to see that Fusion Core because that's up on the top left. He's going to... Okay, a safety Banshee does start up here. And that could be finished, but most likely he'll cancel that and start a battle cruiser in just a moment's time as that Fusion Core finishes. Overlord moving to the north. The 3rd gas is on the top left as well, which also obscures the fact that he's gone the battle cruiser from the Overlord scout. This is very unlucky scouting for Solar. And the battle cruiser is now starting on up. Double Evo chamber goes down for Solar. That's the last thing you need against a heavy battle cruiser Hellion opening. All you really need is a heavy queen count, a quick lair so you can get a Spire out for either Mutas or Corruptors, and just to get a lot of drones up and then protect those drones. Double upgrades is much more important when you're playing against Marines, because basically your Ling Bane just does way better with double upgrades against them. So this is not the right tech, but he's like, hey, I saw 3 command centers. Looks like he's going Hellion, Banshee into Bio. So yeah, it's all good. Now he comes back in with this Overlord. He sees the starport still in the tech lab, but no upgrade going. So he might start to have his Spidey sense tingling a little bit and going, hey, I think something nasty's happening here. Let's see if Solar puts it together. If he did, he would immediately start a lair when he hits 100 gas. I mean, he might be doing that anyway, just as part of his build. It's already a very late lair. Because he rushed those upgrades, he's past 100 gas. He needs that lair right now. 5-minute 30. He is moving the Spore Crawler into the main, building one in the natural and the 3rd as well. So it seems like he's glued onto the fact that this is indeed a battle cruiser. Let's see where that battle cruiser teleports across to. First battle cruiser is often a very effective battle cruiser. And it looks like he's just going to dive it on top of the queens here. He's just going to dive the front Hellions and Reaper, as well as that battle cruiser just fighting these queens. Battle cruiser is such a big tank, but there's such a big queen count here. Fighting that head on is not a wise decision. Oliveira going to rotate around the north side. He's going to look for a better angle. Overlord will get picked off by the battle cruiser. This creeps so far out, but he doesn't seem to have any scans, or at least doesn't want to spare those scans. There we go. Finally gets that creep off. One more scan up here would be really nice. Solar going to snake across the map with a massive Zerglings. He's adding a Roach Warren and a Baneling Nest, assuming that this probably is mech if my opponent's go on battle cruisers. And he would be correct. 3 factories, double armory, even a 4th and 5th factory down at just 6 minutes 20. Ooh, okay, Oliveira, get the deep up. The Hellions are here though. Those Zerglings, no match for that number of Hellion Reaper. Good solid play here for Oliveira. BC might get a few of these Zerglings on the way out as well. Indeed, it gets one of them. Almost gets 2 more, but not quite. Spire's on the way. That's going to allow Solar to get Corruptors to counter the battle cruisers, and he's going to go Roach, Ling, Bane, Ravager, Ling, Bane to deal with the ground army. Equal work is not something a Zerg's comfortable with in this scenario, especially with such a fast 4th on the way. But if he can get up into these extra workers that are now blanketing that 4th, get a 5th base going as well, Solar can absolutely fight his way back into this game. I don't think he's massively behind. Fighting back into the game, a bit of an overstatement. You might look at the units lost and think it's really bad for him. But remember, as long as you're protecting your economy and building forwards, the Terran has put a huge investment in these units that are very clunky. They will eventually trade efficiently if they survive long enough, but it takes them a very long time. Each battlecruiser is an immense investment in both time and resources, and they need to do a lot more damage than that to pay for themselves. Basically, 1 battlecruiser has been paid for in this unit's loss difference. you're going to need to add even more than that. Overseer Scout will be going in just to double check and confirm that it is indeed mech. We've got 10 queens out. Going to try and split these queens, no doubt. Actually, there's only one in the main right now. 2 queens do get Yamato gunned down. And they're going to go after the Spore Crawler in the main. No battlecruiser there is, I think, a big mistake. Or no extra queens, I should say. There we go. They are going to rotate on up here and go after these 2 BCs. Nice transfusers coming on down. And the BC is going to have to float to the back and get on out of there. Tactical jump is available, so they can get out of there the moment they see these Corruptors. The problem is, deep in the red, you might be losing a battlecruiser before that comes in. Goes after the Spire, drops the scan, and I think you might as well just teleport out right away. You're not going to get any more damage done here, and you do risk, if you hang around, getting caught out. So a wise teleport home. Turrets, Widow Mines, and Siege Tanks now spreading across these 4 bases. With the triple Thor on the way, that'll add some anti-air to deal with the Corruptors. High-sec auto-tracking's on the way, that's interesting. So he actually wants range on the missile turrets, and then he'll go for the armor upgrade after that as well. Okay, Time apparently has faith in just playing super late game. Meanwhile, Solar's, he's got the Infestation Pit on the way. I feel like Mass Baneling's so good for busting these kind of static defensive positions. It's all about tank count to be efficient against that, and he's only got 3 siege tanks right now. Hellions here trying to trade as well as they can, but with no blue flame done just yet. The Zerglings are doing all right. Not amazingly, though, as these Hellions start to chase them around the corner. Good micro by Oliveira. He's going to pull up there. Those Zerglings and Ravagers rotating around the right side. More Roaches and Ravagers coming in the south as well. Finally, a 5th base goes down for Solar. His Corruptors coming forwards. The Thors desperately need to swap to high-impact payloads so they can do a lot more damage versus those Corruptors. But yet he's leaving them in splash damage mode. That is really bizarre. An interesting choice here from Oliveira. And as I say, that looks like he did pull out the high-impact payload. They've got those big guns out on their shoulders. As you can see, they've unholstered those bad boys. And much like standing next to a man with a footlong at the urinal, those Corruptors are going to be very intimidated when they go in to fight that. Hive is about halfway done. We've got a 5th base down there. 88 workers for the Zerg, 79 for the Terran. Going up to 8 factories is Oliveira, and he's only got... No, he does have a 3rd BC. Okay, he's going to do a run by. But look at that. The Zerglings see him coming. Plenty of time for these 13 Corruptors to go deal with that. And this is the point in the game where you just want to make the Zerg pay the tax. Hellbats are going to kill a hatchery down there. Very nice. Killed, not cancelled. Time. Oliveira, slow to respond. He's going to lose a battlecruiser. Oh, that's a disaster. That is not good. Oh, the whole point of the battlecruiser tax is you Yamato 3 Corruptors and you teleport away. But I think what happened is because he didn't realize, Solar basically spotted the BCs coming, pulled the Zerglings away so fast that Oliveira thought those Zerglings were never there. So he didn't realize he'd been spotted. And as a result, he was very surprised when those Corruptors dived on top. If you can keep the 3 BCs alive all game, in the long run, they get insane efficiency. And they're usually what basically leads to the almost a win condition in of themselves, because they just basically grind the Zerg down through that efficiency over and over again. Now, Blue Flame Hellions are coming in. Lots of Zerglings going after those. I think these Hellions will do all right versus these Zerglings. He did try to focus fire, but some good spreadies from Solar. And does take out those Hellions. Ghost Academy's on the way, as well as 3 more barracks. That tells us, of course, that there will indeed be a Ghost transition. No building armor upgrade yet, which is a big mistake. Definitely should see that, as well as potentially double engineering bay to upgrade those Ghosts as they come out. The first few Ghosts mostly will be used for EMP and Snipe, but as they continue, they're actually not a bad fighting unit as well. So Zerglings and Banelings are going to be way worse if you can get those upgrades. And there we go. +1 armor's on the way, but still no building armor. So interesting that he's prioritizing the Ghost upgrades over the building upgrades and moving out to a 5th base in the north side of the map. That is very difficult securing that. I feel like at any moment, Solar can run up there and blow that bad boy up. He's trying to march through the middle of the map. That's interesting. Normally you see people wall off this side, but Oliveira is saying if I control the center, it's harder for you to branch out and deny that base. And he's actually floating his command center back for now. So he's pushing the creep back here in the center, creating a lovely spready of tanks, Hellions, and Thors. Still really good creep on that right side, though. And there's Changelings up on top of his army. Solar sees everything. These guys are like, oh, nah, we're totally normal, just Terran. And they do get their faces shot off, thankfully, recognizing the intruders. Now, Solar, realizing he's up against a very totally mech player, might want to consider taking these corner bases and start mining them out. They're going to get harder to secure the longer the game goes. And for now, he's only really on Zerglings, Banelings, Ravagers, a couple of Vipers and Corruptors. It's not a fantastic army the longer the game goes. It's all about finding the correct angle for engagement. 2 Spine Crawlers on this left side. Zerglings coming in. Hellions are going to dive on top of those drones. Hellbat morph. but he doesn't have servos just yet. You can see he starts up transformation servos, realizing just how slow that morph was. Giant attack on the left side, but Command Center's tanks, Thors, and Hellbats behind it. Not a good engagement for Solar, who's currently trailing by 3,000 resources in the units lost tab. +3 vehicle armor, +3 weapons is on the way. Transformation servos, as well as the first ghost starting to build. Unfortunately, these barracks are very badly placed, so the ghosts won't be able to get out of there. Ooh, blinding clouds come in, and those front 3 tanks getting picked off, or at least, only 1 or 2 of them do. The snipes answering and gunning down a lot of these units. Another Ravager goes down, and Oliveira dealing with that with poise. As I said, these ghosts are going to get trapped in that top left. Oliveira's got to fix that up, man. Otherwise, more and more ghosts will get trapped there. He should just lift this barracks and put it somewhere else, this middle one. You got to be wary walling your units in like that. Mass missile turrets and command centers all over the place. Corruptor's looking for a bit of a drive-by in the main, but there's turrets everywhere. There's nothing they can find. 6 Thors, 10 tanks, 5 Hellions, 5 Hellbats, random Reaper, 6 Ghosts. Pretty good set of units there. Engineering Bay is now going to make building armor. Thank God he did remember that. +2 armor on your buildings is huge. Brings a planetary from 3 armor up to 5. Means it's very much impervious to Zerglings. Battlecruiser's playing very conservatively there. Looks like they did just teleport out nice and early after gunning down a few units. Solar right now realizes he's in the inefficiency zone, and so he's going to go for Neural Parasite. Okay, Hellions running down the far left side as well. He's going to go after these drones. There we go. Hellbats do go for a quick morph. Lingsbane's Ravagers coming on in. The Spine Crawler there goes down. Hellbats starting to spread out amongst these bases. The Roaches, the Banelings going in, cleaning it all up. And we've got the Corruptors and the Vipers down here in the bottom right side as well. Roaches should be cleaning that Hellbat up. And, ooh. Oh, Hellbat is like, hello, somebody finish me, hello? You get one tapped by just about any unit in the game. The Queen's going to come and throw a knitting needle at him. Get out! He does go down. 6 ghosts out, mass command center on the way. How many orbitals are up right now? Interestingly, Oliveira was very slow to add orbitals. He's only got 4 orbitals. He's building a lot more command centers right now. But that means he doesn't really have unlimited scans, so... yeah, that's actually an issue. He also doesn't have the mass mules that can allow him to throw his SCVs away and get a bigger army supply. So a very different order to how he builds up to how Maru does it. But he's got a very good mech army. He's got ghosts, Thors, tanks, all the good things very early on. And there we go. The Reaper and the Ghost starting to push back the creep. Solar looks like he wants to engage it. He's got 37 Banes, 70 Zerglings, 4 Ravagers, and 6 Roaches. He's also got 2 Spires up now. Greater Spire has been made. Of course, +3. Air attack is almost done. Still feels kind of dodgy, though. This still feels like one of those situations where I'm like, how do you ever trade with this army? It's basically waiting for Oliveira to make a mistake, and he's not making that mistake just yet. We are blocking the command center in the top left. Maybe when the Terran takes the 6th base is when he'll be exposed to being taken down by these sort of moves. I like the giant Hellbat Thor spreadies. He's got Ghost behind it. That's kind of the mobile artillery, because if you come in with just your Ravagers, they will get sniped down. If you run in any deeper, you're going to be running into a line of tanks that's pretty much unbreakable. They go so far back as well. Thor's shooting down the Viper. It takes a lot of damage. One of the Vipers has gone down. There's only one still out on the map. How many Infestors have we got out? Not a single Infestor. He's got the upgrades, but he hasn't actually gone that way yet. And Solar's basically just banking resources. It's a stalemate. Oliveira can't push on creep without risking throwing the game away. His best option is to just slowly turtle on up. But at the same time, Solar here is just kind of like, well, I can't break you, so there's no reason to throw my army away. I mean, I'm going to wait till you move out, trade my army out efficiently, and then I'll transition from there. Battlecruisers coming forward, looking for just about anything they can pick off here. Corruptors will do. That's the battlecruiser attacks that we were talking about earlier in this game. Just 2 Corruptors, and then bam, a minute later when TAC jump's ready and you're repaired up, another 2 Corruptors will get taken out. And again and again and again. And already that unit's lost tab is already about 2.5 to 1 in Oliveira's favor. Mass Lingbane Ravager running forward on this left side. The first Thor goes down. Blinding Cloud goes down in a single tank. I mean, the Lingbane Ravager is getting an okay fight. Is it good enough? As some Hellions come in, it looks like maybe, maybe not. Gets about an even trade there. Much better than the previous trades that Solar's had, but he's going to lose a base to the counterattack as a result of that. The one problem I see here for Oliveira is his preponderance to just F2. You can tell by the way his army moves forward that whenever he thinks a fight's going well, he's very quick to just F2 his army forward, and that select all army key can be good for a decisive push, but it can also be a bit of a trap. Now he scans, he sees the Broodlords making down there. Still no Infestors, just one Viper, Corruptors, Broodlords, as well as that Ravagerling Bane army on the ground. Solar's trying to take this expansion on the right, but remember what I said about taking those forward bases, because they're going to be harder to take the longer the game goes. Well, now he didn't get to mine any of this top left base, and Oliveira will be able to secure it. Solar may have made a crucial screw up in this game by not taking that move a little bit quicker. Corruptor's going after the BCs, and Oliveira a bit sloppy. You can tell he doesn't have the patience of Maru. Maru really tries to just never lose those BCs in this situation, whereas Oliveira's already lost 2 of them. And I say already at the 18-minute mark because that's the way you're meant to play battle cruisers. Battle cruisers are just never meant to die. They're meant to survive all game long. He's not replacing them either, which means he seems to be giving up on that part of his army, focusing on the Thor tank Hellbat Ghost instead. Alright, is that the first Infestor? First 2 Infestors out, third one on the way. Siege tanks on the right will get taken down easily by these Zerglings. Looks like he's happy to trade that supply out. Otherwise, no reason why they should have been so far out there on the map. Looks like some Widow Mines were underneath that tank and they got taken out. The Lings clearing through this base. No planetary up here. There's one just to the left, but none quite right on the base. And those Lings and Banes getting 10 SCVs. Now, that might not be the end of the world because he is up to a few more orbitals at this point. 6 orbitals. So losing 10 SCVs, he can always just replace that with army. Corrosive Bile takes down one of the Ghosts. Nice move by Solar on that. But at the same time, of course, Oliveira has secured the top left. If he can split this map right across the middle like that, he'll be in a very good spot. This base for Solar as well could constantly get hit by Liberators, Hellions, or even Nuke Harass. I don't think he's gone for any nukes just yet. That will no doubt come in eventually. We've got ship weapons upgrades on the way, extra starport, and more command centers continue to go down. Solar is down at 21,000 resources lost to 12,000. Still close to a 2-to-1 unit lost ratio. That is, of course, very good for Oliveira as he splits the map. That base on the left is very exposed. No planetary on that. It's just an orbital. Battlecruiser comes in. He's going to Yamato a Corruptor and then teleport on out of there. Not bad at all. Meanwhile, the right side base is going to get taken out. Thors and Hellbats will go after that one. Solar looks like he's going to give it up. He's going to move up that north side with his Broodlords. He's got 16 Broodlords with +3 attack, +2 armor is on the way for them. He never got his +3 carapace on his ground units, but I don't know if that matters too much against mech. Very high damage units, so taking 1 more damage off a 52 damage siege tank shot doesn't matter. Bunch of Zerglings do go down, or SCVs, sorry, on this left side to the Broodlings. Planetary is up in the top left though, and that does clear out that base. Meanwhile, down here, it looks like the Thors and the Hellbats are looking to clear out the bottom right bases as well. Solar needs to do something about that, but he doesn't have much of a mobile army. The Broodlords don't want to evacuate the top left side. He's going to go forwards and use Neural Parasite to take out that Hellbat. But that means he doesn't have anything to actually deal with the Thor itself. 2 Roaches, 2 Ravagers, and a Roach coming forward. Oh, mass snipe on the left side! He just lost 10 Broodlords. 10 Broodlords just got sniped. Oh, Solar. Now, you guys can make fun of me for my bad observing as much as you want. I don't know if he didn't have an Overseer there or Solar just wasn't watching, but he got way too ahead of himself in that situation. Distracted by the Thor in the bottom right. And he just lost 10 Broodlords. I mean, that's a disaster. 11 Broodlords in total have gone down this game. That Ravager gets sniped as well. And look at the units lost time. Back to 2-to-1 with 15,000 resources versus 30,000. The Ghosts might not have attack upgrades, but they are almost up to +3 armor. And the Liberators coming in, adding extra complexity to the Terran army, which makes it even more difficult for the Zerg. Now, Solar's got 3 more Infestors coming on out. He's going to beef up that Spellcaster count as well as the Broodlord Corruptor count. But it feels like he's already burned through so much of his bank trying to get this going. He's got to be a bit more careful in the next engagement. And against this sort of army, the real trick is to get enough Banelings to blow up all the Hellbats and most of the Ghosts. And then your Broodlings can kind of block all the Thors and actually do really well. Big problem right now for Oliveira is he only has 2 Hellions and 2 Hellbats, which is not enough to deal with that. Battlecruiser runs in and does sacrifice itself. Oliveira does not want those Battlecruisers anymore. He's on 12 Thors. Wow. I mean, this army, Neural Parasite counters this army. The Liberators have to siege up with advanced ballistics and shoot down the Infestors. Otherwise, the Thors can just get Neural Parasited, and that will win the game for Solar, and it'll win the game one-sidedly as well. EMPs can also protect if you hit the Infestors with EMP before they cast the Neural. Once they've already got that tentacle in the side of your Thor's head, it's too late. You can take their energy out, it will not matter. Couple of Lings running in, just finding bits of damage. The fact that Oliveira hasn't cleaned this up yet is a bit of an issue. Never got a planetary over on this side. He's starting to add nukes and a Ghost Academy. He's still got a floating barracks on the bottom right. Those Zerglings finally get cleaned up. How many orbitals are we up to? 9 orbitals? Okay, that's more than enough. 9 orbitals is unlimited mules. Oliveira can start to throw his SCVs away here as he even goes for the rapid reignition system. That's the medevac afterburners upgrade. Gives them better passive movement speed as well as lessens the cooldown on their boost. And we see this base finally being taken by Solar. He's trying to take this base, but I feel like this is just a resource dump for him. I think Oliveira is going to make that very difficult to hold on to. Mass Ghost Thor Hellbat with a couple of libs overhead. Those Liberators are the secret source. They are what should zone out the Infestors, but some good abducts on the libs. Infestors running in, Neuroparasites going down, could be massive. Nuke goes down from this Ghost right here. Solar's Overseer just barely out of range. He sees it. He sees it, but he doesn't see it. He sees it, but he doesn't see it. He's distracted by everything elsewhere. He's distracted and not again. Oh my God, Solar, not again. Once again, spawning as the red Zerg. Not seeing the red dot, being distracted in the late game, and that was an absolute disaster. About 5,000 resources going down to a single nuke. Oh my gosh, he's zoning nukes as he takes out Solar's bases in the bottom right. Oliveira is all over this right now, going from about 11 Broodlords down to 22. So another 11 Broodlords went down, as well as a bunch of Vipers and Corruptors. Oh my lord, how does he get hit by so many nukes? Now, obviously, we've been making the argument about some of the other things that go wrong for Solar with tournaments like pylons and stuff. But is it just unlucky, or is he just bad against nukes? Does he not hear the warning? Does he feel the pressure too much and not notice it? I don't know. I know I've been hit by many bad nukes forever in my life, but it is rare amongst pro gamers. It is so rare for nukes to land in a big way. There's a famous one of Scarlet, where she was playing in GSL, and the computers only had the Korean version of StarCraft, which she wasn't used to playing on. So she didn't recognize the nuclear launch detected voice alert because it was in Korean, and she only speaks a little bit of Korean. I think her Korean's a bit better these days, but at the time, she didn't know what that one meant. Oh man, EMP's coming forward. Oh, big fight coming up. We need some blinding clouds if you want to take this fight, but where are the Vipers? They're on the left side. If they get EMP, that'd be big. One of them gets sniped. One big blinding cloud lands. The Broodlords are trying to fight here. I don't know how this is going for Oliveira. Looks like a pretty bad fight for him. This choke point is exactly where Beyond ran into versus Dark on this exact same map a few months ago for a terrible engagement of Thors all getting stuck. You got to be careful. You need a lot of room because Thors are so gigantic. Broodlords running forward. 17 Broodlords, a bunch of Corruptors as well. The Infestors coming on fourth. And here we go. The Broodlords are going to start to launch on those Broodlings, just ripping down the Thors from every single side. Solar may have taken a giant nuke to the face, but I don't care if he's the unluckiest Zerg in the world. He is still one of the very best. People keep saying, I keep seeing comments saying, I guess that's the difference between a real pro and a guy like Solar and stuff. I've seen comments like these and I'm like, what are you talking about? He's a god tier gamer. He just has a few unlucky moments. He is a champion. He's won tournaments before, but dude, he just took some very good fights to equalize things a little bit. Yes, he's still way behind in the units lost. If he can keep his mining up and use this next army very well, he still has a decent shot in this game. Massling's going in on this base, going to find some fantastic damage. Remember, Oliveira was not locking his bases down that well. He did not have the just unstoppable amounts of static that Maru likes to go for. Zerglings run in, get a bunch of SCVs, evict a planetary fortress. Looks like this base also got evicted in the bottom right as he's down 27 SCVs. Oliveira may have endless mules, but his bank is down to 5k. Solar, of course, is on a complete budget in that he is remaxing with Zerglings because he has no gas to spare. He's still got a little bit of income trickling in, but the gas especially is running very low. And another hatchery goes down. Oh man, his Lings do force another orbital to lift off. This is looking very rough for Solar right now. I said, oh, he took a good fight, but the thing is, look how quickly Oliveira's remaxed. He's on 14 Thors, soon to be 16. I would argue that that is too many Thors. They're all going to get stuck behind each other, and he should definitely split and come from the left at the same time. But he's just going to try and shove on forward. Oliveira is going for the pig-headed maneuver, trying to just headbutt. Big blinding clouds landing all over those Thors. The Ghosts and the Thors trying to pull back Oliveira with an absolutely horrendous fight. This is absolutely similar to that Beyond vs. Dark game where he headbutted into terrible fights over and over. The Hellbats are in there. Neuroparasites are starting to go down, and those Hellbats are clearing the Broodlings very well. I think the Broodlords might have to back off. Even with the Neuroparasites, those Hellbats lasted a little bit too long, and these Thors are still clearing the Broodlords, even though Solar took a very good fight here. He just does not have the bank to remax, and Oliveira does. And Time, aka Oliveira, gets the Omega nuke, and from there it's a slippery slope. He was already winning that game rather decisively. Just did not give many openings to Solar, and you could tell that Solar was at a bit of a loss of what to do. But let's take a look at that nuke one more time, because I did not even think that would be the nuke. I did not think that would be the nuke, but I think it happened about the 23-minute mark. So as his army rotates down here, he's going to launch a zoning nuke. Check this one out. Okay, so he's going to launch it here. Let's go to Solar's camera, guys. Solar's looking, but it's just south of his screen. And then he looked away because he was distracted by the army moving to the right. So he just assumed it was on one of his bases. He's looking around his bases for the red dot. Oh, he's looking to pull his drones away. He's looking to pull his drones away. He's looking at all of his edge bases. And then he looks back at his army only at the last moment. Oh, no. Oh, my God. From Solar's vision, that is so much more hype. That is insane. So let's go back to when that nuke goes down and watch that one more time from Solar's vision. So you're going to notice, because Solar had some spores and overseers here, he was under the impression that the nuke just couldn't be in this area, or he would have spotted the ghost. But notice though, even though he sees the red dot, it's only for a moment. So that's going to get called down in just a second. But it's just off his screen. He scrolls down to see it, but he's already jumping to the right. So he doesn't notice it. He only saw the red dot for a glimmer of a second. And check it out. Now he's going through all of his bases, looking for the red dot of that nuke, looking for it, and he even checks the far top left base while moving his army down to respond to that army. And he looks back at the worst moment. My God. What an absolute disaster. I'm sorry, Solar, for laughing at your tears, mate. Luckily, this was not anything other than a weekly cup. Obviously, the World Championship match versus Maru was much more of an important moment to lose. And he still made it pretty far in that tournament. But yeah, this is just continuing a tough streak for him. Guys, send out your energy to Solar. Send him your love and support. No man deserves to be nuked in tournaments this many times. Thanks for watching. I hope you all enjoyed this series and going over it, even if you've already seen it on Loco and Winters. I really appreciate it. Let me know your comments on the worst nuke you've inflicted or received in the comment section below. We'll see you in the next video. If you guys want to check out another one, click on one of the ones on screen, and we will see you guys in the next video. Goodbye and good night.